Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the P1 podcast. It's a CDL pre-show before Major 3, and we got a lot to talk about. But first, it's me, two-time COD World Champion Apathy, and I'm here with Slacked and Censor. How you guys doing today?
What's up, Brian? How we feeling, man?
I'm feeling fantastic, man. I'm excited to do this show, and we got a lot to talk about. Obviously, a lot has happened in the past month or so. So for the show, we're gonna have some hot takes. We're gonna be doing a fantasy GM. Obviously, we know there's a lot of struggling teams right now, so we're gonna be talking about that and seeing maybe some of these roster changes we could do. We got the CDL stage trivia. See how smart you are, and probably me, us too, because we need to know our stuff. And Major 3 predictions, and lastly, fan submitted questions as well. So we have a lot to talk about, guys. Are you ready?
Let's get it. I'm ready. Let's go, man.
All right, let's do it. So we're gonna be hopping on straight into the hot takes, and I feel like this is a big one that a lot of people have been talking about. Is should OpTic bring Illy back in? What do you guys think about that one?
Jerry, should I go first, or do you want to take this?
I'll take it. Sure. I don't know. We were sitting here talking a little bit before the show went live, but I think they obviously should. Obviously, people haven't really gotten a huge update on like what his situation was. I know there was a video a while back with Ray kind of saying that he was able to play and it wasn't going to be getting any worse from what the doctor said, but they wanted to make sure that he was fully 100% before they bring him back in. I think they should. I think it's okay for my opinion, for them to play with Prolute for Major 3. But after this, I think that they should kind of get him back into the mix when he's all healthy and allow him to kind of play Major 4 and champs.
Yeah.
Well, I actually disagree with you, Jerry. First, I just want to preface everything by saying I hope Ender could figure out whatever it is with his thumb and he could get it fixed as fast as possible. He can't get back to playing because there's nothing but good things I have to say about him. I think he's a great competitor. He's a hard worker. He's talented. His will to win, his drive. It's very similar to Prolute, actually, and they all are great friends with each other. So it does make sense that Prolute's playing well and Illy was playing well in this team too. But I think the team does look better with Prolute. And if we do look at it strictly based off of a Call of Duty perspective and the team's dynamic and chemistry, I'm watching this guy Prolute drop in 1 point versus Atlanta FaZe. Like this guy looks amazing, and I played against him in challengers a lot. He's always been a great player, but he's changed his role. His mentality's still the same, win or lose, and he's been preparing for this moment for a long time. So to see him coming out and joining OpTic and thriving the way he is, I think you have to ride that hot hand until you see anything that proves otherwise. And obviously, Illy, my personal opinion is that it's a lot worse than what Ray and OpTic are leading on to be. They seem very vague with the way they're describing his injury. I don't think they know exactly what it is, or if they do, I don't think they're telling us everything, because the only time we've seen this was with Zuma. I have this very funny feeling that the same injury that Zuma had is the same injury that Illy's going to end up having, or something very similar to, because if you have an antibiotic and you start taking it, within a couple of days, if not a week to 2 weeks max, whatever that issue is going to be remedied, and it's been over a month now, and we still don't have an update. We see Illy playing on Ringer accounts and S&D Primes with Devro, so I think it's a lot worse than what they're putting onto, but ultimately, I think OpTic's going to be in a great position, whether Illy's playing, Prolute's playing, or anyone. I mean, they're beating Atlanta FaZe, they're beating with Prolute, they're beating with Jordan in general. I mean, for crying out loud, I think you guys can come out of retirement and beat anyone with this team too. Like, they got the best team of 3 in Call of Duty right now, and they're always going to be in a great situation. But I hope Illy can get better. But I do think, going back to the main question, Prolute is the best fit for this roster right now.
I don't know, but they won with Illy though. They won the first tournament together. I feel like, don't you think they already have like 2 SMGs and 2 like AR players? You not like feel like Illy was like kind of a glue, even though Prolute is playing good, obviously, but I don't know. Like, it's so hard to like argue that Illy should not be playing. I don't know.
Well, we'll have to see how he does in this major, Prolute, right? So they got first in top 6. So I mean, I think OpTic is probably one of the favorites to win this major right now, and it really is going to depend on what Prolute can do. It's a great sign for him that they renewed his contract. They gave him an agreement for the rest of the season, so they might interchange him into the lineup too. I think OpTic's looking at it as let's take it as it goes and go from there.
I think they're also playing it safe with Illy, Doug, because like I've had like a similar thumb injury before where I just played a shit ton, and I know Illy grinds. You know, we always talk about, everyone talks about how much he plays a game, and he, you know, plays all day, all night. And I feel like, you know, when the injury comes up and you play again, like even though you feel like the pain will go away, and like I would play again and it'll come back in like a day. And it's like, I think he's just like letting you rest, maybe doing some physical therapy. And I think, you know, he's fine, I guess, to a certain degree. They're just giving him time and making sure he recovers. So there's no like worry, you know, any, so it doesn't come up again, I guess.
I think it would have been interesting to see if they wouldn't have done good with Pro Loot. I bet Illy would be playing right now, in my opinion, because we've seen clips of this guy playing on Ringer accounts already, and I think they noticed that, hey, we're doing all right with Pro Loot right now. Let's just keep him in the roster. We'll let Illy sit out through this major, then we'll bring him back in for Major 4 online qualifiers and the final major of the year, then obviously champ. So I don't know. I think, like Doug said earlier, they could play with a cardboard box and do well because their team of 3 has been playing so well. So I don't think it matters if they put back in Illy or if they play with Pro Loot. They're going to do good. But I think this may be a little bit of a shocker event for them when they play on LAN, in my opinion, with Pro Loot. We'll see, though.
I think that's going to be the decider right there. What will happen in the near future? But Doug, are you in Toronto right now, by the way?
Yeah, so we have a breaking announcement coming soon, but I had to get to Toronto early, so if you guys couldn't tell, I don't know if the internet's choppy or if my audio or video is choppy, but I had to drive to Toronto, 10-hour drive.
Jesus.
Last minute, I just found out yesterday. I mean, I've been moving, man. I've been on the go, but yeah, I'm in my hotel room right now. It's a great city. Can't wait to compete this weekend, and yeah, I'm just excited to be here and be around this energy, to be honest.
And lastly, before we move on, if like, let's say Illy does come back, do you think Pro Loot joins a potential other team and like gets a starting spot, or do you think OpTic just like, you know, keep him just in case for the future?
Well, I think that he's going to stay under that OpTic umbrella for the rest of the season. I think that if a team wants him, they're going to have to pay a buyout for him, and it's
going to be costly.
He's running the flex right now, and there's other flex and challengers who's playing really, really well, and his name's Scrappy. So I think everyone in the league wants Scrappy on their team. So I think for in terms of flexes, I don't think he's the first choice right now. But I think that's going to stay under OpTic no matter what. And I really do see Pro Loot playing under this team for the rest of the year. I said it earlier when he got subbed in. I knew right away when he was going to join that team. They didn't need any slayers. Pro Loot isn't a slayer. He's a great, you know, communicator, a great team player. He's Brian. It's just like when we were playing, man. It's just like me. Like Pro Loot is just like that. He's cut from that same cloth. And when you put him in a great system with great players, he's going to thrive, man. And he's doing ridiculous things on that OpTic roster. And I don't think they want to get rid of him. I think he's going to be there for the entire year.
Yeah, I can see that. All right, let's move on to the next thing. Do Thieves still need a roster change? They are 1-2 so far this season and 0-5 last stage. They obviously like been struggling. They do well, then they do bad. Like, you think, like, what do you guys think? I don't know. It's just kind of a toss up for them right now.
And I said it last time we were on this show. We did like that little GM thing. I forget which one of you guys had LA Thieves, but I thought
they said Kenny switching to sub, right?
Yeah, I mean, we all kind of saw it coming that this is what they were gonna do. For me, it just like they just got to figure out really what their goal is, I guess, as an organization. In my opinion, obviously they're trying to salvage this team and make it work, but you're getting to that point of the year where it's kind of almost too late to make a roster change. I feel like you're getting to the point where there's going to be one major left after this one, an online set, and then to the point where they're just playing champs. So I think that they've waited too long. I would have suggested that they made a change before Major 3. But I think they'll kind of always just hover around that top 4, top 6 range for the remainder of the year, and I don't think they'll end up making a change at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Jerry, when you look at the Thieves, I feel like it's Matt's team, it's his brand, and we know Matt very well, so he wants everything everything needs to look a certain way for Matt, and I highly respect this. He makes Thieves look very prestigious. He makes them look like they're an amazing org and a brand, which I know they are, and I think he holds all of his players to that same standard. What I don't understand about the Thieves is they have a player on their bench who he hasn't had great placings and challengers this year, but that doesn't mean by any reason they can't win the Pro League. They have Pentagram on their bench. This guy is an amazing player. He's very smart. He's very aggressive. When I play scrims, he makes me rage. I shoot his body a lot, so that means he's playing pretty well. And he's been playing pretty well for his entire career, and he joined them for a reason, right? Like, you signed this guy for a reason. You need a substitute. Why not just give him a trial run? It can hurt you. I mean, there's no reason why Pentagram shouldn't have had a chance of playing on this team, or at least having a scrim with this team. Maybe do what Minnesota ROKKR did when they had Havoc come in and they said, okay, we're picking this guy up playing on the team. We don't know if it's going to be Preston, Dylan, or Priest attach Major Maniac standing. We don't know who's getting benched, but we're going to do trials with a bunch of different combinations of our roster and try to figure it out. I mean, they got 4 great players. You have Octane, Draza, Kenny, and an Envoy, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
all these players are great, and unfortunately, this team isn't working. And sometimes you can put the greatest players on a team, and it's not going to work. We're playing in a competitive league where every team, top to bottom, has great skilled players, and LA Thieves has great skilled players. But you're not getting what you should be getting out of this roster, and ultimately, you have a guy on the bench who plays the game just as much as their team does, who's a proven great player in challengers. Why not put him in and give him a shot? I just don't understand why he hasn't even gotten a scrim yet, if I'm being honest.
I think they just have a lot of faith in the team, and I know Cap probably like, I don't know. They got a new coach, right? They added Shane. Yeah. So I don't know. I think he just has a lot of faith in the team. It's like kind of what you said, Doug. They just have a lot of good players, and they have the potential, and he's just like really trying hard to make it work. And then they choke a search, and they're so close to being so good, but then they just don't get there. And I don't know. I feel like maybe you potentially see a roster change after this major, or Jerry, you think it just won't happen? You think it's too late?
I just think it's a little too late. You had a month period off after Major 2 between the Pro-Am to where you could have experimented. And that's kind of where I said this before. Like, yeah, they should have tried Pentagram. I agree with you, Doug. But if they didn't do it in that month break, I just don't think they will at all this year. I mean, it was a great opportunity for them to throw them in for different players, try them out, see if it works, see if the roster works a little bit better. And from my understanding, they didn't do that at all. So I just think you're kind of on the latter part of the year, and they probably won't be making a change, in my opinion.
Wasn't like Cap known for making a lot of roster changes?
That's why I think they're not, because last year they made so many. There was like 8 to 9 throughout the whole year. Yeah, it was
crazy.
And it was probably like, oh wow, we got to chill and try and like stick it out. So now this year they're like, all right, we're not going to make roster changes.
Well, sometimes, I mean, some people, I think our scene, and we all know this very well, our scene does a great job of, if somebody plays bad, you are the worst player and you need to retire right now. And if somebody plays good, oh my God, he needs to be on the best team. This guy's a god, right? Yeah. So I think with the Thieves, they've shown some moments where they look great at the Kickoff Classic. They look good. They look good for the first part of the stage 1. They just won a convincing series right before this major. So, I mean, they don't look horrible. They have moments where they look like they're a bottom 4 team. They have moments where they look like they're a top 6, top 4 team. But again, I just can't wrap my mind around the fact that if you have a substitute on your bench, why not just try him? It's never going to hurt you in any way, right? Like, he's getting paid to be there. Like, give him a shot. If your team, if you're seeing these problems, and we've been a part of some great teams, guys, and we know what it's like to go through trials and tribulations and stick out and work through it and win. And we also know that sometimes you just need that one player change. That's just that one, because this team is competitive. Maybe they just need that one player change, or maybe their team's going to click. But either way, just give him his shot. Just give him his shot. Give him a day of scrims. Give him a few days of scrims. Give him 1 week. Try out some different rosters. Yeah. So at least you could say that you did it. At least you could say, okay, we expressed these options. It didn't work the way we wanted it to, but we're going to stick with this core team. Like there's just no downside to it.
I've been on both sides, honestly, of like having a team stick together, whether you want it to or not, and then making it work, and also like realizing that what's having you stick together because the potential's there, and then like you're so close to being great, but you're just never there. And then on the other side as well, and I could definitely see from 100 like from their perspective, and like you said, Doug, like, and I don't, they're just been like they've been doing well, but at the same time they haven't. It's just like so hit or miss. But I feel like they see the potential. They know it's there. They're really trying hard. I'm assuming they're going hard every day in practice. I know Cap is like, I love Cap. I love teaming with him, but I know he takes it very, very serious. And I don't know. I mean, I guess, Doug, honestly, I definitely could see that happening. Like, if they don't do well at all this major, I could see them potentially trying out Penta or something. Like, even just like a shot, like maybe they're like, you know what, it went well. Like, let's run with you for a bit or something like that.
Yeah, so, it can't hurt. Definitely.
It can't hurt. Yeah. So, all right, let's move on to the next thing, though. Should Spart have been given more time on LAG? Currently 0-3 in the Pro-Am and 0-2 in Major 2 before they decided to make the change to revert back to gunless. That's a hot topic for sure. What do you guys think about that?
For me, it was like, I think it was everyone saw it coming. After Major 2, they won the event. It was one of those events that had an asterisk on it, in my opinion. You had the Volt come out to play. Everyone kind of sat there and said, well, that was probably a big reason of their success, and people still say it. I've been a firm believer of that because I won an event like that where Classic, aka Nikki D, pulled out the Rampart. We went on to win it, and it goes to be like a mental head case for some of these teams. So after that and their 11 win streak in Search and Destroy, I think Austin said it in the interview after they won. He said we pulled off a miracle or something like that, or we did the impossible.
They did, yeah.
And I don't know, winning an event like that, whenever, I mean, you see the good in the win streak and whatnot, but when obviously you see the bad and you're not winning 11 searches in a row and taking respawns off of phase because of a meta change, you kind of saw the team's true colors. So I think you saw them go 0-5. It sucks for Spart. I don't know if he was necessarily the problem because you saw poor performances in Asim and Huke and just inconsistent submachine gun play, but it was only a matter of time till Gunless comes back in. He's not a sub player, he's a flex, so they're probably just going to go back to their original roster and see if they can make it work.
He also got VIP that event, right? Like he got MVP. VIP.
He got the MVP.
Yeah, he was like fine. I mean, I know he had the Volk and whatnot, but
the stats were kind of crazy. He had like a 1.36, I think, with the Volk, and then like without it, it was like a flat 1. That's a pretty big difference.
It's just, I don't know, man. It's such a tough spot, man. Like they won the event. Obviously, they're not performing as they want to afterwards. And it's like you said, there's definitely a lot of variables and factors. And it's like, it's such a hard decision to make. But when things aren't working, you do got to act on it. And obviously, like with Gunless coming back, that was their core 4. What do you think, Doug, about it?
I spoke with the players after they won the major. All 3 of them. I think I definitely spoke with Kyler and Austin and Spart a little bit. So obviously Pierce wasn't there, but I spoke with 3 of them. I spoke in depth with Kyler and Austin, and they felt the way you guys are describing it. They felt like they should keep playing with Spart because they won, and he had a great tournament. I personally think Chris is a great player. I think he's extremely dynamic. I think he gives great pacing to his teams. He's been very impactful in challengers with everybody he's played with. So he obviously was impactful on the LAG roster. I just think it's more so a role thing, right? Like Gunless is an amazing flex player. He's one of the hardest kills I played against personally in the CDL, or I guess in the league before the CDL. But I think it's just one of those situations where they had their main guy and he was performing pretty well. He had his unfortunate situation where he couldn't play. They had their sub come in and do his job. And after that, they gave him another chance, and the team just didn't win a series. And I don't think that's necessarily on Chris, but if the team isn't winning a series and they have their main guy on the bench, it's just the way it's going to go. And that doesn't mean that they can't put Spart back in or give him another opportunity to play. And I think other league teams are going to look at Chris and say, all right, like this guy Spart just came in, won a major. The team didn't play well, but he did his thing, and now he's back on the bench. It makes him look good in a certain way. So this isn't going to be the last time we see him playing in the Pro League for sure. He's going to be playing in Challengers this weekend, but he could be back in the Pro League next week. He could be back in a couple of weeks. He's most definitely going to be back next year. So I think being in this league and being affiliated with it, it's really just about waiting for your opportunity and knowing that nothing's going to be given to you or nothing's going to be guaranteed. And you always have to play with a chip on your shoulder. You always have to prove yourself. And there's no doubt in my mind that Chris is going to be able to do that, and he'll find his way back up on a team soon.
Yeah, I think we can all agree he proved himself that weekend. Like, I'm sure other teams are looking at him. I'm sure LAG, obviously going to keep tabs on him. And like you said, Doug, you never know. Maybe the squad isn't doing so well, and they want to put him back in for any players. Like, it's definitely a possibility. I think it was the right move, considering they weren't playing well. Gunless got better, and they wanted him back in the roster, so they wanted to make some sort of change, and they just decided to go back to their core. But yeah, I guess we'll see what happens with him. I mean, he's an animal. I think he's he does his thing. He's definitely has a lot of talent, and this is not the last time we'll see of him. I'm sure, like, he's gonna be in the Pro League, whether it's on LAG or another team for sure. I can see that. And for the next thing, so now we'll be talking about is, will Neptune be brought into the league? We all know, he was in the league on NYSL. Things didn't go well with that. What do you guys think about Neptune?
Are you asking this year, or I guess for
yeah, that's I guess it's just in general, like kind of how we talked about Spart. Like, do you see him being back in the league eventually? It doesn't have to be this year, because it is kind of like more towards the end. It's rocky for him.
I definitely think you could see him back in the league eventually. But I feel like this year was probably like a big eye opener. He was on a team obviously in Florida. I teamed with him for a little bit, but then he continued to play on Florida through the remainder of the year. They didn't find too much success. Then kind of the whole thing happened with Florida and New York. He goes to New York.
Yeah.
He's obviously teaming with Krim and Clay, two of the most winningest players in the league. And then everyone kind of was like, this is one of the biggest flop teams in CDL history, and they weren't good. And then he gets moved on and off of the bench. I don't obviously think you'll see him again this year, but he can maybe get another opportunity. It just, we all know how it is. The league can be a stigma league. There's been a lot of dirt thrown around his name from Krim specifically. There's been a lot of clips and different things out there. So I think it's just gonna be one of those things where it takes time. He's gonna have to go into challengers, prove himself, prove his worth, continue to fry. Then he'll probably get another opportunity in the next few titles, I'm sure.
Yeah.
He's absolutely going to get another opportunity. I think the greatest thing about our system and how it's set up is if you play bad in the league, you're seen as the world's worst player. Neptune, obviously, we all know people threw his name around like he was the worst player in the league. He had some of the worst stats in the league, worst this, worst that, right? So he's like, okay, cool. I'm on a broken team. I'm not happy here. We've all been on broken teams. We've all had underperformances. You've been a world champion, Brian. You've also had some bad performances too. That doesn't mean that Neptune can't come back and can't come into the league and be impactful and win. Being in the league and winning at the highest level is really about having the right mix of players. I don't think it's necessarily a skill thing when it comes to this level of Call of Duty competition we're talking about. He's clearly a very skilled and talented player. He's in challengers right now and he's frying. So I think the way it works is like you could play horrible in the league and go into challengers and fry. And at some point, if you keep frying, you will get another chance. I mean, I think a great example of this is Colt. I think Colt, he had a great MW year. His Cold War year wasn't as good. He got, he had the opportunity to be the sub on Florida. He said no to it. He wanted to go back into challengers. He's dropping 2.0s, winning 7 events in a row. And then he gets multiple offers, joins ROKKR, and they're looking great. So, Colt went from looking like a great player in MW to a not great player in Cold War to a great player in Vanguard. And I think it's all about just balancing these highs and lows as players, because Colt was never a bad player. He was never bad in Cold War. I mean, his stats might have shown that he wasn't playing that well, but the stats don't really mean everything at the end of the day. And I just think when you have so many great players competing against each other at all times, it really comes down to your dynamic and chemistry between your teammates. And if you have a great team, like looking like Prelude subbing in for OpTic, you're going to be dropping 1.4s versus FaZe. You're in a great system, and it's just going to work. So Neptune, this year, I don't think he's going to be likely to be in the league again. He's going to have to come into this event this weekend and literally be the best player and win the tournament to be getting another look. Because usually I think the best player on LAN is going to be able to get looks. So it's going to be interesting to see how it unfolds this weekend at this tournament.
Yeah, I think for me, like for Neptune, is he came up pretty quick, right? Like he came from Halo. Started, like, I don't know, I feel like he just blew up really quickly, and we all know he's talented. We all know he's really good. He shoots very straight. He obviously has really good movement. For me, it's like he still needs to learn a little bit the fundamentals of Call of Duty, kind of maybe a little bit more teamwork, like the little things that if he can get better at and like apply them to his game, that's when I feel like he'll really shine. Like every time I've always watched him, like sometimes I'll be like, maybe he's being too slow here or he's being too fast here. Like he could play like the game a little bit more fundamentally correct. But I feel like that's maybe something, for example, like on New York that, they weren't agreeing with him, or maybe they're like kind of trying to fix and like help him with that. And I mean, things just kind of fell apart over there. I mean, there's probably multiple reasons why. But I think someone like him, like once he, continues, like I feel like going back into the gauntlet and challengers and continue to improve and learn and keep getting better, I feel like he's definitely gonna, eventually get back into the pro league. Like maybe even next year we can see him again. Yeah, but this is another big thing. Who's getting the next call up to the CDL? We obviously are seeing new players. I mean, I feel like someone who comes up to my mind already is like Scrappy, like just new generation of Call of Duty players, all these amateurs. Someone like Prelude, who's been competing in the challenger scene for a while now, but finally kind of gets a shot and is making a name for himself. Like, are there other players you guys kind of have eyes on? I know Doug, obviously you compete in challenger, so you probably have more people in your head. So what do you think?
I think there's a lot of players that can compete in the league, including my roommate, who's
your roommate
right behind me. He's on the bed right now. I think this kid is one of the best players in the world, and he's sitting here right now just playing the challengers with me, and we're not having any success. We've been through a lot, but I think challengers is very weird because you could look at the top and look at the number one team and say, okay, these 4 guys deserve the chance because they won, and they should because they won. But we all know that's not how this thing goes. You don't have to win to be in the league. Winning is a great way of getting your name out there and getting exposure, but ultimately it's really about your connections and your relationships with these GMs, with these coaches, and the players that are on these rosters. And if you don't have any, you do what Scrappy did. You go in, you win, you drop a 1.3, you get a chance on Toronto. You looked like the greatest player in the lobby. You beat NYSL. So if anyone deserves it right now, it's Scrappy. If there's anyone playing in challengers right now out of everybody, it's Scrappy. I mean, he is by far the number one player who should be in the league that isn't, based off of what he's done consistently, based off of when he played at the last challenger tournament, based off of his one chance he played on Toronto Ultra. But we all know how it works. He's on that roster, he's on that bench, and they look great with Insight. They look great with him. He's probably a conversation that they have a lot and they think about, but they're going to roll with Insight until anything else changes, or maybe sell him somewhere else. But definitely Scrappy for sure.
Yeah, I started laughing because Jerry, because of his teammate Dan Ghosty, he always talks about it.
I think honestly the most realistic, honest answer though, it's Scrappy 100%. I literally think if you don't see Toronto plays top 4 this weekend, he's in the starting roster like 110%. So it'll be interesting to see. I think, like Doug said, he's proved himself at the Minnesota Open. Whenever he played, he was literally the best player in the venue. It wasn't close. Then he saw some good success at the Pro-Am. He was individually frying and was the best amateur at the Pro-Am. Then he goes on to play one CDL match versus New York, the champs of the Pro-Am. He drops a 1.36, I think is what it was. And he literally single-handedly took over map 4 and 5 to win the series versus the reigning champs of the last event. So he is definitely the easy answer for me.
But like, do you think we're going to be seeing more of this, like kind of these newer players coming in? Obviously, I don't know. Like, do you think the older pros are going to start getting pushed out and like these newer players are going to be coming in, these new challenger demon beasts like guys? Or do you think it's just going to be a slow, still kind of thing like how it is every year?
I think it's circumstantial, right? Like, you see like Krim getting dead last with New York and everyone's saying he needs to get out of the league. This guy's 30, and then he comes back and he wins with who did he just win with? Paul and Kismet. These guys are not young 18-year-old crack kids. Paul's been around now. We can't call Paul a young rookie anymore. He's not. He's he's been around. He's been a very experienced, great player. Same with Kismet. I mean, dude, he was on Paris Legion year 1. People thought he was horrible. Comes into Challengers, has a great season in Cold War. Vanguard, best season. Comes into New York and they win. I mean, I don't think the age thing matters. I don't think the young talent thing matters. I think it's really about if there's a new player that you haven't seen, you want to hope that they could be the next Simp. They could hope to be the next Abizi, right? And 9 times out of 10, they're not going to be, because how do you get better than Simp? How do you get better than Abizi? They're the cream of the crop. But it's really just about it's truth though. I'm just being honest. Like,
yeah, no, you're right.
Not everyone's gonna be Simp, and I think these GMs are starting to realize that they want a good mix. I think of you need that veteran leadership that's been around and that has the fundamentals, that has the experience. I think that's valuable and it matters. And they could shoot just as straight as the young guys. And I think the young guys could be as talented, if not more talented, than some of the old guys. But I think you always need a good dynamic of young, new, fresh, hungry players, maybe some older players that have experience. And I think that's a great formula for success ultimately.
Yeah, I like that. It's a good point. Okay. All right. So now it's time to play GM. It's gonna be a fantasy GM. We're gonna attempt to fix these struggling teams. Well, this one's gonna be hard for me because I got Toronto, and this squad obviously has been struggling all year long. We all know this, man. On Cold War, they were like insane. I love watching them. I love watching their teamwork and their play style. It's kind of hard for me because I really want these guys to stick together and I really want to keep their core. And I just really want that to work because I'm a big fan of this team, to be honest. But if I were to make one change, obviously, like we said, Scrappy has been playing phenomenal. The guy's an animal. He's proved himself. He showed that he can compete with the best. And I feel like him for Insight probably would be my move. But other than that, like I would probably keep the other 3. I would keep that core. I think they have a lot of potential. Just one of those teams that like I feel like they can be so good. It's just they're so close, but sometimes they just maybe have a hiccup or something goes wrong and they're just not there yet. But that would probably be my move.
Uh, I think with Toronto, they're extremely competitive, and I don't think that they're bad by any means. I definitely think they're a top six team in the league, and they have some of the
Yeah.
best average placings going back to last year, and they've had their struggles this year for sure. They went from looking like the best team at the kickoff and winning it to definitely struggling to having Hicksy coming in and filling in and winning a series to having Scrappy coming in and winning a series. I think Toronto's a great situation right now because not only is their main team really good, but their academy team is great as well, and they could really swap out players however they see fit. So for Marquis B, he probably has one of the toughest jobs in the CDL right now because how loyal do you want to be to your core four that you
Yeah.
stuck with since you replaced Methods with Insight and you got a championship, second at champs, won the kickoff this year. You guys are always in the mix, and that's really what you can only ask for as a competitor, as a team, as an owner, as a GM, as a coach. If you can be competitive and have a chance to win, that's the only thing you can ask for because there's no guarantees with winning. But he has one of the hardest jobs in the CDL because Scrappy looks like one of the best players that's not in the league right now. And what do you do about that? Do you sell him? Do you leave him on the bench and not let him play? Do you keep your core four? Personally, Brian, I agree with you. I think Scrappy needs to get another chance on this team at some point.
Yep.
If they're not going to do better than top four,
Well,
I think that should be the benchmark in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's going to be it. Like, obviously, that's if they need to change. Obviously, they can come to this major and play well, and then at that point, it's like, okay, well, I guess Scrappy will stay in the bench and keep doing his thing. But I think that's going to be the decider for sure. So I guess we'll see how they perform this major.
All right, and I think I am GM for the Paris Legion today, and this one is very, very weird because I personally would go to Aches and say, "Can we blow this one up?" I think this team made a big mistake at the beginning of the year, just being straight truthfully. They I don't know, took a chance on a lot of older players. They didn't really bring in a good mix, like kind of Doug was saying earlier, of like this younger, new talent. You had a lot of players coming from the amateur scene that you could have taken risks on. And there's a lot of players that are doing very, very well. Pro Loot specifically, Scrappy, these guys who have come up, Spart from this team that won Cold War Am Champs. So I think they just made a bad start from the beginning, but obviously everyone knows Temp has probably been the only player that has played extremely well through the entirety of the year. So I think you would have to start right there, kind of build around him. And logistically speaking, I don't think any of this could happen, but you have players like Clayster sitting on the bench that could take a main AR role. You could have Temp play the flex and then pick up realistically any two submachine guns from the challengers scene or that are currently sitting on the bench. It would just be hard to tell. But I mean, if I would be able to just create it, I'd probably put Clay in. And logistically speaking, I don't think you could get rid of all the other players. So you keep maybe Temp and Jimbo, get rid of John, and get a different submachine gun in that role. But like I said, it's hard to actually make things like that happen this late into the year.
Yeah. I agree with you, Jerry. I think Temp's been like the only one really performing. I think it's just been, a lot of bad with that team, and it's hard because there's only limited of maybe sub players you can get from the challenger scene. I mean, there's obviously it's just more of a risk. Like if you choose someone, when you have people underperforming on the team, you kind of got to do that. You got to make that change and just say screw it. Like we just got to risk it, and hopefully this guy will perform better. But I think it's too late into the year that I don't know if they're, like you said, if they are going to do that. So I don't know. They're really in a weird spot right now. But I definitely agree with what you said.
They haven't made, just looking back to Paris as a whole, from year one in MW, they had multiple substitutes. But then last year, we only saw them make 2 changes total. They've already made those 2 changes from the start of the year. They had Decimate and Fellow on their roster originally. They swap out both of them for Jimbo and Tom Gravity. Then here they are. I don't think they'll make another change. And I really don't think it would be a good spot for any challenger player or any new player to join their roster this late into the year. You're only guaranteed one event after Major 3. They're not going to make champs, so then you're on to the next.
That's another thing. It's like, why would it's even if you offered somebody, it's like, why would they even take it? They most likely won't. It would hurt them if anything. So yeah, I mean, they're kind of in a tough spot.
All right, so guys, I'm going to be the GM of the London Royal Ravens here. All right, so this team to me is very interesting. I just want to say that starting off. So we have 5 players on this roster. We have Harry, Zero, Nasty, Gizmo, and Afro. And Gizmo is obviously back playing in Challengers in Europe, and he's going to be here playing in Challengers. And they have Harry running the main. I don't know what's going on with this team, honestly. I scrimmed them right before the Pro-Am. They had Harry coming in. He was running the main. I believe Trey was on the flex. and Nasty and Afro on the subs. And I think that they just recently moved Trey to a sub and Nasty to a flex. I could be wrong. I really don't know what's going on at London, but all I know is that they have great players top to bottom. They have great teamwork. And it just seems like since Harry joined the roster and Gizmo's out of it, they're having role issues. And that's never a great thing to have, is role issues.
Mhm.
So if I'm London, I'm figuring out what's going on with Gizmo. I want to potentially put him back into the roster and start there because I already have him under my contract. He's on my team. So I'm going to see what's going on with Gizmo, see how he's feeling. And then if this team that we have right now is going to underperform at this major, I'd say if they get anything under top 6, I'd try to put Gizmo back in and go from there. I would like to work with the players I currently have because I'm a big fan in giving people time and letting them develop and giving them confidence in themselves and showing them that you believe in them. Regardless of how good or bad something goes, I think there's so much pressure to always be the best, and it's great to have that competitive environment, but you also need to have a sense of stability as well. So I think that they have great players overall. I definitely think they're competitive. I don't think that this team is a bottom 4 team by means, but this weekend's going to be a lot for London, and I don't know where to start other than Gizmo, and I just go from there because I just think that their team has a great core, and they're just going through a rough patch right now, honestly, I feel.
I completely agree with you, Doug. I mean, I think that they're just put in a weird spot. I think their roles just don't make sense. They're bringing another main AR. They already had Zero running the main AR. And realistically, they just need that flex back. So if whether it's Gizmo coming back or, I don't know, potentially even entertaining getting like Spart or Scrappy, who are currently sitting on the bench. We saw them put in Paul earlier in the year. They found a ton of success. So I think they just need that fast flex player back in the lineup, whoever that may be, and they'll be able to turn it around, in my opinion.
Wait, what happened to Gizmo, by the way? I felt like he was really performing and doing his thing, like, until I don't really know what happened. You know, everything kind of fell apart with wasn't Gizmo's like kind of their star player?
He just has some personal issues. I actually talked to him personally a couple of weeks ago. He asked me to make sure it stays confidential, but he just has personal things in his life that he's dealing with now, and I respect it. And it's really ultimately on him, and obviously I think his team misses him, and I think they all really love him and respect him. So I really just think I'd start with Gizmo if I'm that GM, figure out what's going on with him and go from there.
Yeah, I like that. I think he's a star. Let's see what they do with that. But we're gonna move on to the next thing, the trivia, Doug. And I feel like, Doug, you love these.
I don't know. We'll see, I guess. I don't know.
You love them, Doug, because I swear you get like the answers right almost every time. You just know your stuff. So I don't have a link to the trivia, I don't think. There we go. Minnesota currently has the best overall S&D record at 16-8, 66% win rate. What is their first blood rate? I feel like first blood is obviously really important. Doug, what are you thinking?
Their first blood rate in terms of what? What do you
S&D.
Can you specify? Is there like their percentage of getting a first blood?
They have
in
a
the round?
66% win rate. What is their first blood rate? Yeah, like
Jesus. Is there like multiple choice to this?
Yeah.
Or just, like, randomly
yeah.
guessing?
You have to open up in Discord.
Doug, it's 51%, 60%, 48%, 38%, or 66%.
He's not gonna remember.
Jesus. All right. I'm reading it right now. Okay.
Okay.
Their first blood rate, if they're 16-8 in S&D, their first blood rate is ridiculous. So I think 66 is too high. It's probably 60%.
Like I'm gonna go 51%. I'm going right above Doug.
What, 66%?
What it is? What's the answer? It's 51, baby.
It was. That's actually insane. That just
Dude.
shows you. That just really shows you right there. If you're 16-8 in S&D and your first blood rate's 51%, that's just a little bit better than half, like 50-50, and it just shows you how important that is to win mounds.
I told you, Doug knows the stuff. Dude, Doug, you are insane.
I lost. Jerry got it right, not me.
Oh, is Jerry the one that got it right? God damn it, Jerry, you're a genius. All right, next question. One player has planted the bomb 22 more times than the next closest player. Who is it? Damn, Doug, if you were there, I would pick you.
I was going to say, why am I not on this? I mean, I would have quadruple anyone's bomb plants in this. I'd have everyone's bomb
100%.
plants combined in this league right now. One player's playing about 20.
Dude, I feel like it's ASUM.
It's not Arcides, that's for sure. He does not like planting bombs. I
Asym's
think
a
it's
team
Mac.
player.
I think it's Mac. Yeah.
I'm going Mac as well. I'm with Doug on this one.
I'm going with Asym. LAG. LAG.
Hey, LAG.
Let's go.
He's
LAG.
a team player, bro. I told you guys,
You're a
man.
genius, App. You're a genius.
I know my players, man. I know my team players. Oh man, he has planted the bomb 62 times in 159 attacking rounds. Mac is number 2, Doug. So you're close.
62 out of 159. I could easily break 100 and 159.
Doug, I 100% agree with that too. Let's go.
OpTic Texas have swept teams 5 times in control. Only one team has not been part of any 3-0 or 0-3 games in control. Which team is it? I feel like it's FaZe.
I want to say it's FaZe, bro. I feel like FaZe always gets around.
FaZe are
Yes,
good at-
yeah, FaZe.
Semper
We're all gonna
Abizi's
go with
getting
it.
around, bro. There's no way they're getting
They're
3-0.
getting around by
They're
themselves.
getting around by themselves for sure.
But wait,
Yeah,
is
I'm
FaZe
going
not
Atlanta
3-0'd
FaZe.
somebody though? Like it says they've not been a part of any 3-0. Like have they not 3-0'd a team in control this year? I feel
Oh
like
no,
that's
they
kind of
definitely
odd.
have. Then no, you're right. I read that wrong. That's definitely not.
I'm gonna say Florida Mutineers actually.
Really.
Think so?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Florida Mutineers. I feel like there might be the one team that hasn't been 3-0'd or 3-0'd somebody.
I'm going
Florida.
LAG.
God damn, man. I don't know. I'm going Boston Breach. I'm throwing a side one.
It's definitely not Boston. You're wrong.
It
Ryan.
is LAG, bro.
Hey.
It's because those guys hadn't won offense in so long in the league. Like they hadn't capped a B point on like Gavutu and I think it was Tuscan before Major 2. Like they had yet to cap the point in a match. So I was like, yeah, they had to have taken it several rounds into the map.
I mean, that's honestly tippable.
It's a bad thing. Not tippable.
No, but it's like tippable, you know? Next question. A team with a positive record in hardpoint has the most 50-point hills given up. This team has 22 big scores given up, 5 more than the next closest team. It's a lot of math, man. Do I got to break this down in my head?
Oh, I think it's Seattle Surge. I feel like they've been really good in hardpoint and 22 big scores given up. Dude, like that. I don't think they've given up that many big scores. I'm just gonna stick with it. I'm just going with Seattle Surge. I don't know. I'm crossing
I
my
have
fingers.
no
Seattle
idea.
does have Lamar.
I'm just saying London for fun because I have no idea.
I'm going to go with Seattle Search 2 because they have Lamar. That's a Lamar stat right there.
Hey,
London Royal Ravens.
I'm frying. I am frying.
Dude, Jerry's just winning them all.
Come on,
Please tell me there's more. I haven't got a single one right, man.
I don't know. Is that the last one? That would have been the last one. Oh, we got another one.
Yes.
Here, Doug, you read this one.
Okay. Question. Bokich P1 averages 25 points scored per hill, the least of all hills. Which hill is averaging the most combined points scored per hill? Bonus. Which other hill averages less than 30 points? All right, so let's just do the first part of this first.
Chill is averaging the most combined points scored per hill.
I'm going to say Gavutu P4.
I think it's Gavutu P3.
P3 or P4?
I'm going with P4.
No, P4. Sorry,
Which
I'm thinking
other
about the
hill
wrong
averages
hill.
less than
That's a
30
tank hill,
points?
right, Doug? P4? Yeah, I'm going P4.
Is that the one in the middle?
No, Tank Hill is P3. Tank Hill
Oh,
is
is it
P3,
P3?
Jerry. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, P3 then.
And then less than 30 points.
P3 is a
It
money
is
hill.
P4.
That's P4.
Wow.
Alright, so we
okay.
were right about. I was finally right. And then which
Well,
other
which is the
hill
bonus?
averages less than 30? It's one of these 4 that's here right now, right? So
Yeah.
less than
Less
30
than
points.
30?
Gav P3, Berlin P3. It's got to be Berlin P1 on this list.
I'll say
it's the only
Berlin
one that makes
P1.
sense.
P3.
Less than 30 on
Oh.
P3 Berlin. I feel like
That
Berlin
kinda
P3
makes
is a
sense.
really easy hill.
I feel like P1 people lock down like 60s on it sometimes if they give them the spawn trap.
Yeah, but
Oh,
isn't just like
who
if you're
knows?
playing against like OpTic, maybe they're like spawn trapping you. Okay, guys, moving on to the next thing. We got predictions. Let me open this thing up. Now, this is gonna be hard for me. This is gonna hurt because I know. All right, let's just move on. Let's just talk about the first one. Winners round 1. We got Minnesota ROKKR versus Los Angeles Thieves. I think we all can agree ROKKR's winning this one.
No, we can't agree. No, I'm definitely saying ROKKR. I mean, I have a great friend named Standy Elias Mercedes-Benz on this roster, and I think he's been enabled having Cold Havoc here. So I think Standy's going to come out flying. He's going to be flying all over the map. He's going to be frying in game. I think this this could actually be a 3-0 for ROKKR, in my opinion, over the Thieves.
Disagree with both of you, but I'll let you guys say ROKKR for the sake of this. So let's go, baby.
Oh, let me log in real quick.
Uh-oh.
I can't get my password, you know. It's I love LAG 432. No, but yeah, I think we all can agree ROKKR. I mean, we know Thieves is struggling a little bit right now. You think a 3-0? I feel like ROKKR, or I feel like Thieves gets one map.
Thieves are gonna. I'm serious. I think Thieves are gonna come out and fry. We saw Minnesota ROKKR at the Pro. I know it was early on to the
but
roster
they've been playing
change,
well.
But
Jerry,
people forget about this online league matches. They always forget. They just recent bias the online league matches. Oh, the team's been playing better. Blah 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 blah. They forget that you're playing on different servers, different ping, different locations. Land's a different ball game. And Octane is always nasty on land. That boy's about to drop a 1.8 in this series and eat him up. I'm telling you,
I think ROKKR just picked up.
You're gonna see it's gonna be the end of the. It's gonna be the ROKKR, the shocker and ROKKR, and they're just gonna get smoked off the stage.
You proved Doug and I wrong. We'll see about that, but I think ROKKR takes that.
I like it.
I'll say 3-1. Toronto versus FaZe. All right, FaZe. I don't know, Jerry. You think FaZe are like they're winning this match?
I'm hot on FaZe on this event, so I mean I'm probably super biased. I feel like they are.
I think FaZe are gonna win. We can all agree with this.
People always talk about FaZe how they're struggling this and that. It's like they lose one series or maybe two series. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, and they forget that they have Simp and Abizi on their team and they're just gonna turn up whenever they want. So I'm hot on FaZe.
I think FaZe wins both the hard points. No, I think they win both the hard points. It's going to be a 3-1. I think FaZe wins both the hard points, so they're going to win one of either the Control or the S&D. I think Toronto's still a great team, though, and I think they're going to win a Search or a Control versus FaZe.
Agreed. I like the 3-1 for sure.
OpTic versus Florida. Damn, this is a hard one.
No, Florida has yet to lose to OpTic on land this year. That's
we did say OpTic 3-0 on land last time. I remember I was on the broadcast and I said everyone laughed and said OpTic 3-0 and then Florida won. So I think Prolute's going to come in and do his thing though. I think this is going to be a 3-1 for OpTic. I think OpTic wins this.
Yeah,
I'm giving. I like that. I think it could go 5 though. We could easily see the series go this stretch. I don't think OpTic.
I will do 3-2.
Is as dominant, but I got OpTic winning.
I think OpTic's winning. Yeah, I think OpTic's winning for sure. I mean, Prolute's just been fitting in well, and they've been doing good. So let's see. Seattle versus New York.
Be honest, I think this event, I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on this, or Doug, you specifically, but I think Seattle can make a far run in this tournament. I know they've had their ups and downs and kind of been a roller coaster of a year, but at Major 2 specifically, if Mac doesn't get sick, you could see them in the grand final pretty easily. I think they've been playing a lot better online, and they should be able to transition. They have a lot of experience as a team throughout the year, and I personally don't think New York is too dominant.
Well, look, I've been loyal to the Surge since day one of this league. I always said Surge was one of the teams that should be contending for championships, and they went through their rough patch, and I still said that Surge should be able to contend for a championship. So I'm going to stick with Seattle. I'm taking them 3-2 over New York. I love the players on New York. I think they're an amazing team, and they're not going to be an easy team to beat. I think this series could really go either way, but I like the Seattle team. I always liked it from the beginning. And if I'm them, I'm going to say enough's enough. I'm putting my foot down, and I don't care who I'm playing. I don't care if NYSL just won. We're winning, and we're moving on, and we're going to win the tournament. Like, let's go. Like, I just think Seattle has that energy around them right now. And, yeah, I'm taking Seattle 3-2.
Oh, Doug. I love that.
Let's go. I love that. Hell yeah. We'll keep it 3-2. I like that. I'm agreeing with you. Seattle. Let's go. LA versus Breach.
This is a really
Boston
Elimination
Breach
round one.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding. I don't want to jinx them. I'm not jinxing them.
I don't know. Listen, Boston.
I'll let you guys talk.
Like, I personally have Minnesota ROKKR down here playing, but for the sake of this, we'll keep it the same. But I don't know, man. Boston has not looked good. I feel like they're kind of starting to get exposed a little bit. I'm sorry, Doug, but like they I don't know, they've looked kind of up and down all year. Then versus the heavy hitters and the good teams, they've yet to beat any of them. Versus FaZe, every time they play them, they get smoked. They haven't looked competitive versus OpTic, and when they played the Thieves, they've lost to them at the Pro-Am. And I'm not very confident in them. I feel like they've just been all over the place. They don't have a super consistent mode. I feel like whoever they play, whether it's Minnesota or LA Thieves, we're going to see Boston getting out of this tournament pretty early.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't speak on this. I'm not jinxing Boston.
You're not big.
I like that, Doug.
I'm heavily favored.
I'm winning, Doug. Or I mean, App if you do.
Yeah, I have LA Thieves winning too. Let Doug pray in silence, but I'm sorry, Doug.
I'm heavily biased towards Boston, so I can't say anything right now. I'm
you guys I know in your head, it's flipped right now. It's okay. Next, we got Toronto versus Paris. I'm sorry, man. 3-0. Next, Florida versus LAG. LAG 3-0 Florida. Next. Stop. What do you guys think, though? For real, like, how do you guys
Florida,
think?
I think Florida can beat. I think we're all going to say Ultra beat Legion, right? So let's just move on. Like
yeah. That's yeah.
I think that this Florida team can
Wait,
win this match.
Doug,
I mean,
sorry to interrupt. Respectfully, of course. I don't want to seem like too disrespectful, but Toronto's going to win 3-0. Paris is struggling. We can all agree on this.
yeah, I think we all agree.
Yeah,
Paris is in a tough spot, but I think Florida can win this match versus Guerrillas. I don't know what to think of either of these teams. Sometimes they look good, and sometimes they don't look good. I feel like they're just definition of middle of the pack teams right now, with great players on both sides. Just 3-2 Florida.
Yeah, no, I like
flip a coin. I don't know.
I was gonna
You
say
guys
this
like
is,
that?
Oh, this is one of those series that they come up on and like you're gonna. I don't know. It's so weird. Like this is a really good matchup for Florida, though, in my opinion.
I think this is a.
Yeah, I got Florida winning this series pretty much. I don't know. It's gonna be 3-2. It's gonna be a Guerrilla.
You guys are hurting me right now.
Forth. I'm sorry to say it, but LEG, unfortunately,
No, I know they're struggling right now.
Best. They bring Pierce back in. They still haven't looked amazing yet. They got their work cut out for them. It's gonna be a tough major to kind of go out there and perform.
I think it'll be like a 3-1, 3-2. I think Florida, probably will end up beating them. LG are struggling right now. What do you guys think? Like a 3-2?
I got 3-2 Florida. I'm with Doug. I like that.
3-2.
Yeah, I think Asim has one map. I think Asim has one map for them, and I don't know who's going to get another one.
LAG just need Asim to get back into that form he was in about a month ago.
Dude,
and that's when LAG is really untouchable. When him and Huke are frying, this team's disgusting. But it's hard to have that consistent SMG player in a league this tough. So you can find for him, though. They can maybe make a run for sure.
Okay, well, let's move on to next one. New York versus London Royal Ravens.
I really like New York in this matchup. I think they match up great versus this roster. Honestly, I no disrespect to the London team and those boys over there, but I think New York is extremely hot still, and I think that they're just going to be playing a team that's also hot in round one. I think either team that drops down between New York and Seattle is going to win their elimination round one, so I'm going to take New York in that match 3-1.
I agree.
I'm with you, Doug. I think New York is just a better overall team, and ever since London kind of has had Harry in the mix, none of the players individually are playing that bad, but as a team, they just can't figure it out, so I'm with you on the New York train.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jerry. I think they've been struggling, and New York just won the last one, so they're definitely looking, somewhat good either way. And yeah, I'm with you.
All right, let's move up to
move up next. Minnesota ROKKR versus Atlanta FaZe. I know you guys are gonna all say FaZe.
Now, call me crazy, but I think ROKKR is gonna win. Something about my man Elias Standy Mercedes-Benz. Every time he comes into one of these matches versus one of these top dogs in the league, he just shows why he deserves his roster spot in the league. I feel like Minnesota always looks good versus Atlanta FaZe. Even going back to Cold War, I don't know what it is about Attach and Priesta and Standy, but that trio matches up really well versus the FaZe roster, and they're red hot right now. I mean, ROKKR couldn't be any better. I think FaZe is honestly struggling harder than they ever have all year. In their last few matches, I've actually seen them look human, and it's very weird for me to see that, and to see Celium going neg and Abizi going neg and Arcides complaining
online.
Like it's just like it's just very I haven't seen this from FaZe, so I think obviously FaZe could always win, but ROKKR's hot, and I'm gonna take ROKKR in this 3-2.
What did FaZe get at Major 1 and 2?
Second and second.
Yep.
Jesus,
what are they gonna get at Major 3? First, baby.
If they get second again, I might personally go to Chris and be like, you might get removed out of this GOAT conversation if you keep getting these seconds, man. You got to pick it up and close these deals out. You're the GOAT. Come on, win these tournaments,
he has
dude.
the GOAT title because his team's always in the grand finals, and people say, oh, FaZe is underperforming. These guys aren't doing well, but they're always in the finals every time.
That is typical.
Like, no, Sip is the best player I've ever seen.
They're underperforming is a top 2. Another team's underperformance is a top 8, top 12 performance. So, like, oh no, I feel like it's crazy to count them out of every tournament.
Yeah, Doug, I kind of agree.
Like
ROKKR's been looking good, man. They have, and I can see them beating FaZe, but I'm sorry, Doug. I'm gonna have to go with Jerry.
No, hold on, wait. No, the one team that always has FaZe's number is Elias, Mercedes, Standy, Benz, and Attach.
And any of these big series always fries. That is a fact.
They always play well versus FaZe. Always. It's just a guarantee. 3-2 ROKKR. Switch that.
I don't even have this matchup in my bracket, so you guys just pick whoever you want at this point.
You know what? I'm gonna go with Doug. I've been feeling really good about ROKKR today, or just the past couple days. Elias Standy, Bravo is gonna go crazy.
Yes.
Mercedes-Benz.
Elias Standy, Mercedes-Benz.
He's gonna go crazy. Our next match, OpTic versus Seattle Surge.
You guys are all going to hate me in chat, but I got Seattle Surge, baby. I'm not joking. I actually think they're going to make a run this tournament.
I think they've been all up and down, but
I don't know, man. I don't care how good OpTic's been looking. I think this is I don't know. It's gonna be a wake up call at the LAN event. They've only been playing some online league matches with Pro League. If it hits the fan for them, it could get rough.
I think it's still gonna go game 5, but I do see Seattle winning. Like you said, LAN, things might fall apart a little bit in their team, and
maybe not. OpTic could easily come on just 3-0 smoke them, but
yeah, that's definitely possible. It's a hard one. Doug, you got to be like the tiebreaker. Like, I don't know, you got to like tell us.
OpTic for sure, man. I mean, Shotzzy is the most impactful player in Vanguard.
So good.
Seth is a top 5. Yeah, Shotzzy is known as the best player in this game right now at this point in the year. Dashy has the best shot in Call of Duty history, and Seth is one of the most consistent submachine gun slayers of all time. They have the best trio in Vanguard. Even though they got 6th at the last event, I think OpTic is always going to be the favorites this year. They proved it time and time again. The way they lost in Major 2 with the bad spot on Gav versus Florida, I mean, dude, I don't know, man. I just think OpTic is always going to be the favorite, and I think that no matter who they play, they should win. So although Seattle's hot,
Shotzi's guaranteed 2 maps.
I just feel like Seattle and New York are really bad matchups for OpTic, like with this new route. I don't know. I feel like they both match up very well with them. They both play the game fundamentally correct and really like structured, and I feel like this Seattle team, they've looked great. And if they were able to get a big win versus New York, I feel like they'd be super confident versus OpTic with basically a fill-in. So we will see. I know where I'm going with it. You guys can pick whatever you want, though.
Doug, are we going with OpTic?
Yeah, we're definitely going with OpTic.
I'm going with my King Scumper Jumper, 3-2. I think it's still going to go game 5, but I see OpTic winning it all. So we got Thieves versus Ultra in round 2 of the losers bracket.
No, it's the Toronto Major. It's Toronto Major 3. They got the home crowd. They got all the people there. They're going to be icy. Cammy's been back in form. I could see them making a long run in this tournament. I do think that over the last few weeks, they've looked like the better team than LA Thieves, in my opinion. So I would go Toronto Ultra, especially with the home field advantage.
3-2 Toronto Ultra. These teams play each other very close when they play, and I think Toronto's a better team right now.
You too. I like it. 3-1. And then down low, we got Florida versus New York, and we can all agree probably New York are going to make a run.
Yes, New York over Florida.
I agree.
For sure.
I think it'll be a hairy match. I could see it being 3-1, 3-2. Could easily see this series going to a game 5.
We'll give it 3-2 because, Florida somehow, just like you said, it's going to be very hairy, but I think Crim is going to, they're going to pull the W nonetheless.
Yeah.
All right, we got, I got to move this up, huh? Winners finals. Minnesota versus OpTic.
Give me OpTic. I just think OpTic's the favorite, right? Like, I just think OpTic, even though they're
Shotzzy.
not 5-0 in their matches, I think they're just the best roster in the game. So give me OpTic over ROKKR.
Yeah. Jared, what are you thinking? OpTic?
I don't know. If Attach gets it this far, like, this guy's not losing this series.
We
literally just gassed him up versus FaZe. Like, again, these are the matches where Dylan Price comes out and absolutely fries and has just one of those unbelievable series, and everyone's sitting there like, how is Dylan still doing this? This guy's 35 years old and absolutely frying. And I would not be surprised if he starts 12-0 and overlap streaks map 1. And then Andy, Eli, Mercedes-Benz comes up and clutches up Search and Destroy, and then Lisa gets game 3. Serious though, if Minnesota were to make it this far, I actually think this is another series where we would all just be sitting there scratching our heads, mind blown that they got it done.
It's definitely possible. I can see that, but I think we can all agree Shotzzy the best player in the game, Dashy the best AR shot in the game, and they have Scump the king. I feel like
wait. Another
he's the best LAN player.
Both the teams are very good at search, but if Minnesota makes it this far, their Search and Destroy is gonna be on point this tournament, because ever since they've added Havoc, we just saw the stat about them. They're 166% of their Search and Destroys. So
that's a good point.
They're taking 1 or 2 of them a series. I'm very confident.
OpTic's also really good at search.
They are. No, they are. That's it'd be a battle of the S&Ds. I think it would come down to the S&Ds for me. I could see this one going 5.
It's a battle of 2 giants. I mean, Doug, like, what are we thinking, man? Minnesota or OpTic?
No, I mean, look, I'm a big advocate of Minnesota, but OpTic.
You're just talking about Standy, the Benz, Toyota, Mercedes.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Standy turned into a Honda Civic, according to Doug. I don't know what happened.
I just ultimately think that OpTic Gaming is still the best team on Call of Duty Vanguard, and therefore they're going to win.
And they have the best player in the game, Shotzzy.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's going to be a 3-2. I think it's going to be a griller, but it's going to be a 3-2. And next we got Seattle versus Toronto. I think Seattle's making a run.
I think it gets shut down here by the Toronto Ultra. I'm a big fan of the home
Cammy
crowd, dude.
special?
I think
The
it's
home
real.
crowd.
And if Cammy's playing as well as he has been in these last few matches, and he's kind of back in that Cold War form, a lot of people have been talking about him. I feel like this team is very, very dangerous. And he can go hand in hand with Sid. And even Kleenex can go hand in hand with Pred. So this would be a hard matchup for Seattle.
I can see Toronto winning 3-1.
I think when you get to this point in the bracket, it's tough, but I like Toronto, especially being the home crowd favorites. And honestly, the reason why I want to pick Toronto is because they have Scrappy sitting on their bench, and you know that if they
have
don't
something to
perform
prove,
well, they all have something to prove, and they're all going to be on their game. So I think Toronto's definitely going to make a run, and I think they'll beat the Seattle Surge.
I agree. And this is the next hard one: FaZe versus New York. Subliners.
FaZe just has New York's number when they play. I just think this matchup, to me, it's just, I don't know what it is, but I just feel like Atlanta FaZe matches up very well versus New York Subliners.
Yeah, I agree. I think we can see FaZe kind of dominating like 3-1 in this series. Give New York a map.
Getting them one, a bada bing, bada boom.
This looks like last year. You'd see Toronto Ultra and FaZe battle it out late into the tournament. So we have OpTic in winners or in grand finals.
Grand finals.
We have Toronto versus going
FaZe.
up against FaZe. I think this is where you see FaZe fall or FaZe wins. I mean, and Toronto falls, in my opinion. Here, I think that FaZe look really good versus them through the entirety of the year.
I agree with Jerry. I think FaZe wins this.
I think FaZe wins this. What does that leave Toronto top 4?
Yep,
it does. It actually leaves them top 4
at their home major. Then FaZe would play Minnesota. Then
like a 3-1 probably. I don't know if Toronto gets them that many maps.
I think if it went to a game 5, Toronto would win it. I think Toronto's going to beat them in the search and lose the respawns.
Yeah, I think it would be like a 3-1. Yeah. Then we got Minnesota versus FaZe. Is this a rematch?
In the way that we picked this bracket, I believe so. And you know what's going to happen? The same thing as the first time, baby.
FaZe are going to learn.
Elias Mercedes Standy Bents, man. He's coming through hot, and he's going to take his team to the grand finals versus OpTic Gaming for another rematch. I got ROKKR 3-2 again.
Damn. What are you thinking, Jerry?
I don't know. This is a tough call. This tournament's just so crazy. Like, it's going to be nuts. There's so many good teams in this.
I feel like a lot of people are getting upset.
A lot of them are just kind of like coin flip series in a way. It's like what Doug said. There's middle of the pack teams, and then there's just the powerhouse squads kind of going back and forth. So I don't know if these guys were to play us again. I could see FaZe winning if they lost to them in the upper bracket. I think FaZe would be on a several game winning streak through losers, and they'd be able to take them out here.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Mercedes, Standy, Benz. I agree with Jerry. I think it's like a 3-2 though. I think FaZe takes it.
I don't agree with that. I think it'd be a 3-1. If it went 5, Minnesota's got it all day. Just how good their searches looked and how weak FaZe.
You don't think FaZe's search is looking good too, or no? It's struggling right now.
It has not looked
struggling hard. Yeah, I'll be like a 3-1. I agree. OpTic versus FaZe. Another grand finals appearance.
I hate to say it, but I think FaZe is going to stay Silver Surfing in second place, man. They just can't beat OpTic. Dude, if there's one thing I could bet on in Call of Duty Vanguard, it's OpTic beating FaZe. It's at the beginning of this year, I was the biggest FaZe fan. I said FaZe is always going to beat OpTic. They always have their number until I'm proven otherwise. And all I see is OpTic beating FaZe. They beat him with Jordan General. They beat him with Illy. They beat him with ProLoot. They beat him on LAN. They beat him online. I mean, they just can't beat this team. They just can't do it. The best revenge would be if they beat him at Champs. But right now, at this point in the year, OpTic is going to beat FaZe.
But Doug, it's where ProLoot's a whole new player. You still think OpTic has their number?
They beat
OpTic has their number with
but online is online, Jerry. Online sucks.
ProLoot is a great fit for Illy, but OpTic has their number regardless of who their fourth is. They won with Jordan General, who's a main AR, Illy, who's a flex, ProLoot, who's a flex, who was a sub. I mean, just pick anybody, and they're just going to beat FaZe because that team just matches up so well versus Atlanta.
Yeah.
I don't know. I disagree a little bit, but I think that this is FaZe's tournament to win. These guys are due. Like last year, these guys won every tournament, basically. They've yet to win one. They're getting to the latter half of the year where there's basically 3 events left. I think this is the turning point for them, and they're going to turn up. So
I think, Jared, this is the tournament where we're going to see them win, and then everyone's going to be like, oh my God, they're so good. Abeezy, oh my God, Simp, 1.4 KD, just destroyed OpTic in finals. Like, what the hell's going on? You know, kind of like a wake-up call for everybody because everyone's been sleeping on FaZe a bit.
Yeah, FaZe also would have more experience in a deeper map pool than OpTic. You would see OpTic be playing a best-of-9 finals with ProLoot, which I'm not even sure if they've played every map. This would be a tough series for them. FaZe has, again, been in back-to-back grand finals of both the majors. they would have a lot of best in 9 experience and probably a lot of practice on some of these maps and modes. So I'd be very confident in FaZe if they were to make it to the grand final to win the whole thing.
I agree with you, Jerry. I'm picking FaZe. I'm sorry. OpTic can still
No
win.
offense
But
taken, man. No offense taken.
we're going FaZe. Come on, FaZe, turn up.
I'll be honest,
We
the
got-
likeliness of seeing a FaZe OpTic final is like 0 to none again because I feel like the stars have to align at this tournament. But
100%.
I think everyone would love if it happened again because for Call of Duty as a whole, it's amazing whenever it's OpTic FaZe.
100%. That's when it blows up. All right, and we have our winners, Atlanta FaZe.
Like
By Mountain Dew Game Fuel. And now let's move on to the final thing, the fan questions. Oh, Doug, we got a couple questions here. We got from Jay Ortiz. If you could choose any 4 players that are currently in the league, starting or subs, which 4 would you choose to beat OpTic? Damn, so
To beat OpTic?
to beat OpTic and OpTic only because they're the best.
Okay. Any 4 players in the league, and I can handpick them off of teams. Let me get Celium. Let me get
Okay.
Simp. I'm taking the Cell Simp duo.
BZ?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to take a BZ. I'm going to make it a little bit more interesting because it's not going to be fun. And that core 3 doesn't beat the OpTic core 3 on this game as it currently stands. So I think Cell and Simp would be my 1 and 2. If I'd put Cell on the main, I'd probably get a flex. I'd get Scrappy. So I'd put Cell on the main, Scrappy on the flex, Simp on the other sub. And then for the 4th sub, I want like a Colt Havoc type player. I want somebody who's selfless. I want somebody who makes game-winning plays. So, no, I'm not picking Tyler because it'd just be boring if I picked a BZ.
Okay, fine.
Let me give a challenger player. Let me give a challenger player a chance. Let me get
challenger player.
Did you say I could get a? You said starting subs.
Start
I
in
can't
the
get
league.
a challenger player.
Yeah.
Okay.
Starting or sub.
Give me Asim. I feel like Asim's ready for that moment. Give me Asim as that selfless sub player. Scrappy as that flex who just kills everything. Celium who just is one of the greatest, and Simp. I think that team could beat OpTic.
I like that. What do you think? What about you, Jerry?
I'm taking Simp. Simp is the greatest. Then I'm taking Scrappy. Cell. I like that a lot. I was gonna take that, but Doug literally read my mind. Then I'm adding a submachine gun. Probably just putting a BZ in the lineup. I think they'll be all right there. I think Atlanta FaZe with Scrappy would be a force.
Yeah, I like that. I like
What
the
about you,
Simp and
Brian?
the
Who
BZ
you
combo.
getting, bro? Who you getting?
I feel like, I know Doug has a point. Like, it's a little boring, but like, you got to get the Simp and the BZ combo. Like, that's a wombo right there. And then we get Celium, and then I don't know. I'll low-key, you know who would shut them down, bro?
Is that Krim?
Cammy.
Why did we not get Krim? Like the king is down.
Oh,
like we all
fuck.
saw
Yeah,
his interview.
Krim.
Like he's not
It'll
losing
be.
his
I'll probably
stuff.
between Krim or Cammy for me.
All right, I like it.
Okay. Next one. I like it. What 4 teams do you believe will not make champs this year? Is that from Yeah? Question from Yeah.
I think Paris Legion is a lock to
Paris.
not make champs at this point for sure.
Yes.
Do we have the standings?
Mhm.
How I know it's very close at that bottom half
I have
of
a
the
picture of
standings.
it. So Paris is sitting in 12th at 20th or 20 points. Right in front of them is New York Subliners at 70 points. And this is where all the ties start coming in. So Florida and LA Thieves are tied at 9th, 90 points apiece. Then from there all the way up, it goes Toronto at 100 points, Minnesota at 100, sitting at 6th is Seattle at 110. LAG's at 125 in 5th. Boston's at 130 in 4th. And then London Royal Ravens are at 140 and 3rd. Then OpTic and FaZe are above everyone at 210 and 205.
It's tough, man. I think Paris is the only lock. It's hard to say the 4 teams. I think Florida doesn't make champs. I think New York doesn't make champs, despite that they're a great team and they definitely could win it if they were in it. But they have so much pressure to make up so much ground. So I think Florida, New York, Paris, and then the 4th, it's like a toss-up. And the only reason I say New York is because they're down 20 points right now, and it's really hard to get points in the CDL.
Yeah, no, I'm
I don't
right
know,
there
but
with you.
they've been playing well. I mean,
They have been playing well, but they played well at the Pro-Am where they didn't get any points, and then they came through and went to the
true.
online qualifiers, and then they did all right. I think they ended up 3-2. So I mean, it's just very tough. Like Doug said, they're gonna have to make a deep run into the tournament, and then they also have to outplace all the teams sitting up in front of them.
Yeah. I mean, you think of like a team like London or Boston, even though they're like higher up in the board, like the standings, they don't drop.
I think they're basically secure for champs at this point. I'd feel
London has 140 points. They have double New York's points. For them to drop out of top 8, they would have to not get fit. They're out ahead by 50 points from 8th right now. So I mean, that would be such a hard drop off. They would have to completely bomb out. And as long as they win a series here on the land, they get points. And then as long as they just don't go 0-5 in any of the qualifiers, it'd be tough for them to completely bomb out, in my opinion. I'm going like Paris, New York, Florida, and honestly, I would not be surprised if you saw Thieves not make chance.
Yeah, that would probably be my forte too. But you never know. I'm just saying.
No, I agree, Brian. I think we all could kind of agree there. I don't think Thieves look that good.
Definitely.
Florida to me is kind of on the bubble. Paris is definitely not going, and then New York, I just don't think they can make up the ground.
All these teams have looked. Don't get it twisted. Every team from 3 all the way down to 12 has looked very bad at some point this year. We're talking Boston sitting in 4th, and they're in losers bracket, not looking great going into the majors. So it's like, who knows what can happen? This COD has kind of changed a lot over time goes on. So I would not be surprised for anyone to kind of go up in the standings or go way down.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Next question from Loggy. My question is, can Seattle win their first event ever this major?
I mean,
yes.
Like I told you, I think this is, I don't have them winning the event, but I think this is a very good opportunity for them to make a far run. Here they've looked good online, but you never know what Seattle you're going to get. You can get the pro-am that they were at a month ago where they go 0-3 and lose to the amateur team and look awful, or they can come to this event, start out strong like they did at Major 2, and then kind of turn some heads, I guess. So only time will tell until the matches start.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think it's possible for sure. I mean, we all know they, what they're capable of. They have a good core. It's just about performing at the end of the day. Doug, what do you think? You think they can win this one, or
can they win it? Yeah, I mean, Guerrillas won the last major with their fill-in. Can they win it? Yeah. Can Paris win it too? Yeah, they could. I've seen crazy things on Vanguard. I mean,
all right, Doug,
some of the best players in Vanguard don't get good placings. This is just the way this game goes. Yeah, they definitely can win it. They have a chance to. They're not my favorites to win it, but they're definitely one of the better teams at this tournament where I'm like, yeah, they should be able to make a run and do really well.
Yeah, I agree with that. We'll see what happens. Last question from Alex King. Put Scump and Shotzi with Alec and MC versus Abizi and Simp with Illy and Dashi. Who wins? So basically flopping their 2 cores around.
Abizi, Simp, Illy, and Dashi. Or
Scump, Shotzi, and Alec and Celium.
Yeah, I'm going Abizi, Simp, Illy, and Dashi.
You just follow Abizi and Simp.
No, I'm going with Scump, Shotzi, Alec, and MC for sure. They definitely
low key, bro. The king and the best SMG in the game. I don't know, dude.
Shotzi's that glue, bro. He's that guy. Like, he's actually that guy.
That's so hard. That's honestly a hard question.
MC is also that guy. I think Shotzi and MC are the 2 best players on Vanguard. So yeah, I'm taking that team.
For me, it goes between. I think Scump and Shotzi and Abizi and Simp have kind of all just like they're interchangeable. It's in the AR diff for me and the AR and flex. So I don't know. I think Abizi, Simp, Illy, and Dash would be disgusting at S&D, and they're bound to get a respawn. That would be a crazy lobby. I would not want to be in that lobby. That would be those guys would be turned on demon time.
I feel like for Vanguard, I agree with Doug. But in general, that's a hard one for me. I'm a really big fan of Abizi and Sim, but I do like Scump and Shotzi a lot too. Obviously, I think Shotzi's been proved himself time after time that he is freaking disgusting and so impactful in the game. That's a hard one. I'm gonna go with Scump and Shotzi though.
Let's see if Shotzi doesn't have to shoot against Dashi in Vanguard. And Dashi's gross in this game too, so like he may
may fall under pressure.
He may kill him a few times and throw Shotzi off his game or sniff out his long routes and stuff. So who knows, dude? We'll never get to see it though. We'll never know.
They'll never say never, huh?
On Vanguard.
Okay, so that's all the questions. Thank you guys for being here. Shout out to all the fans and everyone who watched. It was a fun time doing this. I'm super excited for Major 3. This is like such a crazy tournament. I don't know what's going to happen. I'd be mind blown if, a team you think is going to win is, could easily not win, and we can see some other teams. So Thank you, Slacked and Censor, for being here and for being a part of this. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well and leave a like. I appreciate that.